everything, you need to start paying attention a little bit more because, again, rec league should be fun. It should be about their developmental of the fundamentals and things like that. But when they start getting to that middle school age and you start seeing separation, you might want to start paying attention.
Absolutely. Now, with Chance being a wrestler and you guys having a wrestling background, I definitely wanted to get your take on the situation in New Jersey where the young man was forced to cut his hair. Now, from my understanding, the referees are to inspect the wrestler during weigh-in before the match. And they said that that particular referee wasn't even there. So he shouldn't have had an opportunity to have his hair cut in the first place. But there were a lot of backlash for the parents of the young man. A lot of people asking where was the parents and why didn't another parent step in during that situation. You having your child wrestle, and you said you guys come from a wrestling background as well. How do you think you would have handled that situation if you was there watching your child get his hair cut?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm just going to let you know, honestly, like I am very hands-on. I have had some exchanges with coaches and refs and things like that. So let's just leave that right there.
All right.
We're going to keep it clean. But as a parent, I would have never allowed that to happen. I feel like just knowing who I am, I would have stepped in had his parents not been there because I really feel like that this young man was violated. And I know that his parents currently are taking the high road, and you're absolutely accurate as far as what you said. He wasn't even there to inspect that weigh-in. So he should not, and the young man had wrestled previous to this match. So if another ref didn't have a problem with it, and then another thing I'm going to add to this that I read, he did have covering for his hair. Because I see several wrestlers now, even girls that wrestle, they have wraps and things for their hair. They have covers. He said the covering wasn't good enough. But let's go back to the fact that this same ref has also been linked to other racially motivated things. And so I definitely would have been in this phase. We would have not necessarily, I wouldn't have taken a forfeit, but it would have, he would have had to bring in some higher officials or something. Because what I do know about wrestling is that there's always a rule book, there's always a deciding factor, and it's not just based on what that ref at that time says. There are always higher up officials that probably could make a call in a situation like that. As a matter of fact, I know that there is as far as high school. So I feel like the young man was violated. I feel like this guy should be banned. I feel like he was suspended in another instance that was racially motivated, but was reinstated. And I just feel like we need to pay attention to that stuff, but not just this young man's parents, any parents that were there that stood by and watched someone cut this young man's hair is, I don't know. I think that, not necessarily that they should be reprimanded, but they should take some sort of accountability for allowing something like that to happen, because we all know that it did not have to get to that. It didn't have to come to that. And so, again, my knowledge of wrestling and what happens on the mat, my son has been he made it to state a couple of years ago and wasn't able to wrestle because he had a skin funk, because he has, when you're a wrestler, you have a lot of skin things that happen to you. And so if you're having an outbreak, that is a rule that you can't wrestle, because now you run a risk of contaminating other kids. But when you're talking about someone's appearance, come on, he could have covered his hair. He could have wrapped his hair. He could have tied his hair up. There are so many things he could have done with his hair, but this ref was almost insistent upon him cutting it. So I feel like, again, it was a violation of this young man. I feel like the coaching staff should take some responsibility. I feel like maybe his parents shouldn't also be so defensive of this guy, because this guy does need to be reprimanded, and he needs to be reprimanded to the highest extent of what type of emotional damage that this could have potentially done to this child.
Absolutely.
So that's my take.
I couldn't have said that even better. So we're going to pause for a second, get a quick word in from our sponsors, and get right back into it. Hey guys, Tyler Butler here from Enough with the BS podcast, and I'm here to tell you about our good friends down at Philip Price State Farm in Easley. As a father and a husband, I know how difficult it can be to get insurance. Well, it became so simple after talking with Philip and his excellent staff. I would highly recommend you going to 1021 South Pillinen Street in Easley or call and get a free quote at 864-859-5741. And for a bonus, Philip actually played for our hometown Clemson Tigers. But always, and I do remember always, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. All right, that was Philip Price with Philip Price State Farm. And also, this podcast is presented by Javertis Burnett. And you can see all the latest information from all of our sponsors at mysportsculture.com. Now, back to it. And once again, we have Angela Pride on the line with us. And Mrs. Pride, I see it seems as the pride and joy right now is the Coach with Pride. Can you please explain to the people exactly what that is and what you and your husband are doing out here for the upstate of South Carolina?
Sure thing, Tyler. Thanks for asking about our business. Coach with Pride was founded in 2008. It is a leadership consulting and training company, and we've just actually brought in the sports consulting arm of it. But we, for the most part, I do leadership workshops and seminars and things like that for organizations. And I also do business coaching for individual entrepreneurs that may be aspiring to get to their next level, that may not be accustomed to working their business plan, and so on and so forth. So those are things that I do individually. But then the sports consulting has come alongside that because we do have currently 2 student athletes that are on full ride scholarships to D1 University. We get a lot of, questions and people wanting to know what we did and how we do things. And the first thing that we tell people with the sports consulting, there's no magic pill. There's no hocus pocus. We want you to be prepared. We want you to have a plan. We want you to work that plan, and we want you to put your child in the best situation so that they can be recruited at any sport. It's not just about football. We've got soccer clients. We've got basketball clients. We've got wrestling clients. We've got track and field athletes, and we've also partnered with various companies. And Tyler, I'm looking to hopefully do some things with you as well, as far as training, because a lot of athletes come and everybody's dream is to play at the next level, but your next level may not be Troy's next level. Your next level may be his next level. But what Coach with Pride wants to do with our sports consulting is help you to get to whatever that level is, and hopefully obtain some money along the way. But at the same time, you've got to be prepared for this. It's not just, again, an overnight thing. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of good grades. It's a lot of good characteristics that you need to exhibit as well to be even recruited. So we want to help parents, starting from the 9th grade, hopefully, get their kids in position, get those parents in position to ask the right questions, because recruiting, for the most part, can also be overwhelming. You got coaches coming at you. Your kid's good. You got a lot of coaches coming at you all at one time. So kind of preparing those parents as well with what types of questions do you need to be asking, because as I stated earlier, you need to be interviewing them just like they're interviewing your child. And so, so that's what we want to come alongside parents and help them formulate their plans and help them to just be empowered to get their child to that next level if that's what their hearts desire.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as a training perspective, we definitely have to set this up. We can talk after the podcast, but of course we have partnered with Velocity Sports Training Lab, and that's all they do is train athletes. And just like what you were saying, it's not just football and basketball. They have karate, soccer, baseball, volleyball. So it's a real good facility. Kelly Bryant was just training there under the quarterback coach, Ramon. So it's a lot of great 4 or 5, even 1-star athletes that come through the facility. So I would definitely introduce you to Mike Johnson and see if we can get that set up for you, Ms. Pride.
Yes, let's definitely make that happen, because that's a key component to kids. Some kids, again, you may be doing something at a 2A school that, is not really being scouted from recruits or college. So, you always want to enhance your skill set. You always want to have the proper training. And my husband does some of it, but again, he has his own specialties. What I don't want to do is put kids in a position to where it's one size fits all. Well, if you're a lineman, you need to work on certain things with your feet movement as opposed to being a quarterback or as opposed to being a running back. And so we want to help those parents and those athletes get with the right people to be able to enhance that skill set as well, because a lot of times that is what's needed as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can definitely set that up. I think me and my wife was talking about this. A lot of people, especially in business, seem to miss the ultimate goal. And I think the ultimate goal is we all should win collectively. So if you work together, you can all get together at the same mountaintop instead of pulling each other down. And I know it's a competition, but I'm telling you, if you work together, everybody would succeed. And that's what Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, the whole upstate, that's what I'm trying to change. That's what Velocity Sports is trying to change. Also, Coach for Pride. So I think this will be a excellent relationship once we all get together.
Absolutely. That was one of my business slogans for last year. We are better together. I work with a lot of women and that, kind of pushing that through with them. But you're absolutely right. Well, there's no shortage of anything. So if we work together, everybody can win, like you said, and everybody can get the bag if that's what they're after. But we're more powerful together as well. So I'm glad that you said that, Tyler. And again, I just appreciate you including me on the podcast and being able to get this information out to your listeners and anybody that's interested in what you're trying to do as well as what we're trying to do over on this side as well. So.
No, not a problem. I remember when I was starting this up, your name was recommended by everyone I talked to, not just Diverters and a ton of people. So I was like, I have to get in contact with Ms. Pride and see if we can set up a one-on-one conversation or put on a podcast. So once again,
yes,
thank
sir.
you so much.
Well, I appreciate your obedience. I appreciate it.
No problem. Now, as I can see, because my next question was, I read somewhere that you have an extreme passion for people and for growth. I want to know what sparked that passion.
Oh, you know what? In all honesty, Tyler, I think it's something that's just within me. Like everything that I do is about growth. And I think that if more people looked at things from that standpoint, it's like me going back to saying, every athlete isn't going to be on the same level. But if we are focused on trying to get to our own individual next level, how can we not win? Like being a better you today than you were yesterday, being a better you tomorrow than you are today. That's kind of just, I don't know, I just kind of can maneuver through that really, really well. And for the people that I encounter or the people that I speak to, it just seems to, it's authentically me. I mean, I can't be anything else. I want to push people to their next level no matter what that is. And so to me, that's growing. And if we're not growing, we're dying. And so I want to always have, people that's around me or people that I'm impacting or that I'm coming in contact with. I want them to be growing. And that's just why I got into leadership training, to push leaders, to try to help create more leaders, to try to help more leaders be effective. And again, all of that I think is just encompassed in growth. So I don't really have a magic answer for it. It's just an area that I thrive in and something that I'm truly passionate about, seeing others. If you win, then I'm winning. And I'm okay with that. Like you can surpass me, because if I've done my job correctly, perhaps you should surpass me. But if I'm a great leader, then I should be creating other leaders. And so, again, that's why I wake up every morning. That's my driving force. It starts in my home, but at the same time, when I go out and I hang that Coach with Pride banner, it's encompassed there as well.
Absolutely. Now, I have two last questions to kind of end everything off. This has been, once again, spectacular so far. Now, there is an alarming rate of parents across the nation that are pulling their sons away from football because of the CTE discoveries and concussions in general. Of course, you have two sons right now playing football on one of the biggest level collegiately. What do you have to say to those parents who are extremely nervous with the concussion issues, and you being a parent and your sons being on that level with a possibility of going to the next level? How can you reel them in, let them know it's okay to let your children play football right now?
Well, in all honesty, Tyler, like, so, when the CTE conversation really did start to hit home, they made the movie about it. I took both my sons to see that movie. So they are very much aware. I